I know it's a Celtic podcast, but I thought Motherwell brought a lot to the party. As a game we were looking forward to, because we knew it was going to be a cracker, and it didn't feel didn't disappoint us. It was a really good contest for an hour. A lot of jeopardy. Motherwell were worthy of being in the game until that kind of that moment. And I thought Celtic second half, I thought they were pretty good. It'd be a nice wee change for Martin Neal to sit back with a 2-goal lead.
I
think that's the first time since his first game back.
Oh, you're right, actually. Now you say that, a 2-goal lead. I think you're spot on about that.
I don't think he's started since the Dundee United game back in January. So he would be sitting not last for me with an extra man and 2 goals, and it's probably the only time he's been relaxed at any point in time.
I know, Mick, this, as you just said, is the Celtic podcast, and I don't want to make it into the Motherwell loving, right? But as you said, they brought a lot to the party at the weekend, and there's 2 guys that I just want to mention, because perhaps, and Motherwell fans won't thank me for this, but perhaps they could be Celtic targets in the summer. All I know is if I was doing Celtic's recruitment, I'd be taking a long, hard look at them.
One and Stephen O'Donnell.
Listen, good players, but not quite the two I'm thinking of. Elijah Just is one. Brilliant goal at the weekend. You said it last night, actually, in Hotline Live. He looks like, he's about 4 stone, dripping wet, but just such a brilliant player. And the other one that you mentioned earlier on the show, I was honestly really taken with it the weekend, was Elliot Watt. I thought Elliot Watt in the middle of the park dictated things. I thought he looked brilliant. And with all due respect to Motherwell, he just looked like he's capable of playing at a much higher level. He just looked like a brilliant footballer, to be honest. Those are the 2 that stood out. And the other thing that I wanted to get your take on is, did we watch an audition at the weekend for the next Celtic manager in Berthel Askou? Could you see him being in the home dugout next season?
Do you know what? I couldn't
understand, but
first of all, the manager. I understand the kind of the interest in him from outside, and from what I can gather, Celtic are looking at him among other options, and also from what I'm told, he is extremely keen on that Celtic job. He would go off. I know some people are saying, "No, he's looking further afield," and that stuff. From what I'm hearing from people around about his kind of his orbit, he would jog along the M74 to Parkhead. I don't think there's any doubt about it at all. I think he would snap it up in a heartbeat. Rightly so. It's a big job. I like what he's doing. I like the way he's got his team playing. I thought Motherwell have out Celtic all season. They play the very way that you would think is more kind of in tune with a Rodgers or a Postecoglou.
And Mick, the fact that we have to say here in mid-March, I have to say, by the way, mid-March, that's Motherwell's title challenge over.
Well,
in itself is remarkable.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure that it was ever really alive in terms of anyway. But the fact that even in the conversation, it's a brilliant job. It's not just the point. This year the points are kind of, it's a bit skewed in terms of everyone's points. I think Mike Mull have had similar points in the past in certain seasons, but this is the way they play. I think Motherwell fans will tell you that they're loving watching this team playing football. At half time, Motherwell had 56% possession at Parkhead in 45 minutes. I've never seen that in a domestic game, including Rangers. So that's a completely. That's a new scenario for Celtic to be in. That's because of Motherwell, and he's got players that you think. As I say, I'm joking about McGann and O'Donnell. Terrific. Paul McGann was brilliant. He had a bit of a mistake for the 3rd goal. But by and large, I thought he was. Listen, he played centre half. He's not centre half. He was terrific. But yeah, the manager on the manager. Yeah, I like the cut of his jib. I like the way he plays. Everything you hear about the work he does and the structure he puts his team and the work behind the scenes and the kind of the drills and training and how he's nailed this in. I like the sound of it. My only concern is he's a manager, managing in the Pharaohs and managing a season at Motherwell. Going from that to Celtic is a major jump.
Aye.
It's not just. I'm not talking about. It's not about on the coaching field. Because I think he can cope. I think he's shown that he's a good coach, and he can coach. It's the other stuff. It's the other things that drive managers of Celtic and Rangers up the wall. It is. It's the pressure is far more intense. The scrutiny is off the scale. It's relentless. It can feel overwhelming. I've seen many experienced managers get dragged into the old firm tumble dryer and come out looking like a bag of washing. So that's the only question mark. That's why, I mean, you look at Celtic's successful managers of late. Martin O'Neill's just clocked 1,000 games. Brendan Rodgers clocked 800 games before he locked out this season. Ange Postecoglou had 700 games. So you're talking the guts of 2,500, 3,000 games between the last three managers. Askou has nowhere near that as a manager, not even close to that as a manager. So that's the concern I would have slightly. That for all I think he's showing signs of being a really good coach. It's just that, is the Celtic job a job for the next big thing or a current big thing? And by the way, it might be coming to the market, because Celtic have obviously struggling. Struggling is the wrong word, but they're finding it difficult to get the kind of caliber of manager. Like Brendan Rodgers was a bit of a kind of outlier because of who he was and his background, and he fancied the gig. You don't get a Brendan Rodgers usually. No, so people thinking you're going to go and get that kind of caliber of manager, an English Premier League standard manager. That's not going to be easy for it to get, because now even wage terms sort of pay the same as the kind of mid-bottom championship in England. So that's the market. So therefore, did they go in for it? But then again, Ange Postecoglou might have been in that market. But again, he was a good one that they dug out, because he's success everywhere. He had a lot of games on his belt. He'd been at World Cups and all that stuff. So he's a very experienced guy. For all he was unknown to us, a lot of experience, and he got to that job because he was looking to find a club that would get him the foot in the door in Europe and all that stuff. So it's a bit of a stars aligning thing. No. So unless you find something like that, there's not been anything about, because people got wise to it. Celtic thought they were getting that with Wilfred Nancy, but Wilfred Nancy had 180 games as a manager in the MLS. No. Won the MLS Cup. MLS is different to football in even Japan and America and Australia. It's different. It's different. And I think, listen, we can go wake up that calls of Wilfred Nancy. He might have been successful if we could do a pre-season and get a chance to go for the bottom up. Landing during the middle of the season like he did, amongst all the turmoil and the problems with recruitment, he was a sitting duck from day one. I think he made mistakes, but he was a sitting duck. But what I'm saying is that at least the new guy coming in would have a fresh start in pre-season. So would that mean you could gamble on an up-and-coming next big thing? Maybe. Would Askou be the one? I think you mitigate that risk because he's in the league. He knows how to play against Scottish football. So I think gives you a start. How does that cope with European qualifiers? I don't know. There's the unknown things we ask you is how do they cope with the pressure, the scrutiny, the European aspect. Could he cope with Scottish football and run Celtic? That probably could. But he's working on an organisation that is way bigger than anything he's bossed. He's 100 games and he was in with the Faroes, and he was in Denmark, one of the lower league teams in Denmark as well.
Denmark as well, I'm sure.
Assistant coach at big clubs, right enough, Copenhagen and Prague and that stuff. But it's a big job. So I don't know. The question is, after a long-winded 8-minute monologue, I don't know. But yeah, I think he's a person of interest, and he'd be interested.
Well, the thing is that a lot of people throw stones at Scottish football, the standard of it. But I think you've hit the nail on the head when you say that, look, for whatever you think about the standard of play and the fact that there's no money in Scottish football, people can scoff. But I'm telling you, it's like nowhere else. I mean, look at Russell Martin. I've made this point a couple of times, but like Russell Martin got Manager of the Month when he was in the English Championship with 2 wins and 2 draws. Now, when he come up here to Rangers, 2 draws, and you're having phone-ins about whether or not you should keep your job. That's the difference. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's unlike anywhere else Scottish football. It's hard to explain to people that aren't familiar with it. But I think you make a lot of valid points. I think Askou would be a brilliant manager in some ways, but does he have the experience? I mean, it's a big question mark.
Yeah, interesting one. I think he has a bit about him. So yeah, I think it's it looks obvious, but I think let's wait and see.